Black Girls Podcast. I'm Aries.
And I am Kim.
And we are back. Week 3.
Week 3.
Of the new year.
Here we are. All right. So, we talked about this being a theme of self-development. And that could be personal, professional. You could just expand that out. And so, we're going to continue that series, right?
Yep.
So, with that series, this week we're going to talk about professional development. So, for this year, we both had different experiences. I have been with my company almost 20 years.
Wow.
I know. I started at 5.
You ready to retire?
Yes, I am. I'm going to put that out in the universe and making preparations for that. So, with that being said, let's talk about our past year and or decade for 2019. And we can start off with the year. Like, it's hard to think back 10 years.
I know. That's why we probably should start documenting going forward now that we're aware of it.
Right. Well,
because I never thought about a decade really until
I don't know about you
now. I know you document everything. When I say we, I mean me.
Oh, okay. I think I get it from my mama.
Yeah.
She writes everything.
Okay. Yeah.
So I read an article. It was an article. I need to forward it to you. It said the importance of having a work journal. So it's especially with you in this new role.
I do journal for work.
No, but you need to just get a journal just for work.
I journal electronically for work.
Where?
On my computer.
Okay.
In Google. What's it called? The Google Drive.
For me, it's just like writing it down it's maybe cathartic for me. And
And I want to be able to copy and paste when somebody comes sideways. And I can be like, boop, receipts.
Oh.
With the date.
Well, so I do that too, but like I still write it down. Yeah. So I have that book. Because it's easier too for me to say, okay, there's my book because I keep it real close, write it down, and then what I'll do is, and you did this, when Aries was interviewing, she put together a really dynamic presentation of your history, of your work history, your personal and your professional life, and I think we all could really use that because I'm going to start doing mine. Because if I'm starting to look for a new job or if anything happens, I'll at least have a template of my history and what I've accomplished.
And what I can't say is when I spoke to those people who interviewed me on the panel at the conference this week, I got a chance to meet my interviewers in person.
Oh, so
that was cool.
Okay.
And they were both, so it was 3 people on the panel. It was my new director and 2 other guys. And so I met both of the guys individually, and both of them were like, you knocked it out the park during your interview.
That is awesome.
One guy was like, you had the most exciting presentation that I've been able to be a part of. And I was like, really?
That is
awesome. Like, and that's the first time I've had to present like that in a professional setting for an interview.
For an interview?
Yeah.
For an interview?
Yeah, for an interview. So it was like...
Because I was going to say, and that was a lie.
The results are showing that's a lie. But yeah, that was my first time having to do that for an interview. And so I talked to some friends that have done it, that are in the industry. Like sales is not my normal part of the industry that I'm in. So how are things, what are the best practices? What do people usually do? And then I just made it my own and added my personality to it. But it did make me look back at my career based on my resume, but make it highlight reel. So it was 5 reasons to swipe right on Aries. That's how I started.
That was really cute.
Because I knew that the 2 guys that were going to be on, I had not interviewed with them before. So I wanted to give a quick, so that they can give me the head nod at the end.
Right.
After I do the regular 30, 60, 90 presentation thing. And so it was each part of my resume with school and work. And then a top accomplishment that I had on that role that I felt like would be something that they would care about. Yeah.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, so I printed it out. That was what I was doing this week. Was working on my portfolio. So I haven't gotten there yet. I had to update the resume. But I also went to a networking event. And someone did something similar. They did a timeline of their whole. So it was a 1-pager. And it was just a timeline of everything. And so now I'm thinking about you. You're going to the sales role. New decade, new year. You've rebranded yourself.
Yes.
In a total different industry direction.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that's on your timeline.
Yes, definitely. And this is one of those things where kind of get into what you were we're talking about today is the beginning of the year. Like, I got laid off in December of 18. In January, somebody asked me to moderate a panel. That was at the Power Moves.
Yes. Oh, and we need to shout out Tony Howard Lowe.
Yes.
So Tony Howard Lowe puts on a conference. This might be her third or fourth one. I can't remember.
I think the third one, maybe.
Third one, maybe. So it's a really, and I know I use dynamic a lot.
I like that word.
So it really, truly is. I've attended quite a few conferences, I think, that I have under my belt. And there are some where I will not return for my own personal reasons. But Tony is is a conference that I would attend every year because it's different. It's great content, great panelists. And like Ari said, she was on the panel last year. She actually moderated a panel.
I moderated a panel about self-care. And it's interesting because I feel like the things I had to do last year without actually having I was forced to learn things about myself that are not connected to a title. And how to speak about myself in a way that's not connected to a title.
Or a company.
Or a company, yeah. So it's like, who are you? You know, like, that's a hard thing to kind of go through.
It is.
But I just put myself out there. She saw that I was doing some things and was like, hey, you know, can you moderate this panel? Cool. I just jumped out there and started doing stuff, like getting as busy as possible. But her conference is really, she's having another one. We don't have
January 25th.
January 25th.
And she's actually offered for us to raffle a ticket.
To one of our listeners.
To one of our listeners who is either planning to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area who is residing here.
Yeah.
So that's one of the criteria that you must be able to attend. Either you live here or you have plans, and we're going to do a raffle. We don't know how yet we're going to do that.
Yeah. I would say... you are on, is it powermoves.com? Is her website?
Yes.
So you can check out what the conference is and all that stuff and why you should be interested, because it's going to be really, really, it's classy, it's together, it's
punctual,
like,
on time.
Remember the little mimosas?
Yes. So
like, it's
quality.
Nice.
It's a quality conference.
Gift bags, and they had headshots. They had people from MAC there doing your makeup and curls, like big old full-size products.
Yes.
It was really, really nice. So if you send us an email at boldblackgirls@gmail.com and just let us know why you would like to be the winner, why you would like to attend, and we'll pick one from somebody who sends us an email. I think that's a good way to
I think that's a very good email.
Send us an email, and
a good idea.
We will determine, what is it called? It's Power Her.
Power Her.
So it's POWHER.
Capital H-A-R, right?
Moves.com. I think that's it. So anywho, if that's not it, I'll correct it afterwards.
Yeah, we'll find it.
But anyway, so that, and then I also taught my first workshop.
You sure did.
I did a networking workshop on how to use LinkedIn to create your professional network. And that was amazing. It was I was like, this is crazy how many women were there for that. And so I just started doing stuff to keep busy professionally. Things that were going to build up my skill set in certain areas.
And keep you relevant.
Keep me relevant. And then also, that was when the Black Women in Tech panel at Innotech that we did.
Yep.
That started this whole Bold Black Girl thing.
So you were very busy. So although you were unemployed, you definitely feel the gap of unemployment. And again, no one really knew.
I know, because I'm like, everybody's like, you're everywhere, you're doing this and that. And it's just funny because all those things, when I did this interview and presented myself, those were the things that attracted them the most to me.
Wow.
The people that the network that I built, that was, a lot of that energy was put in there last year.
Because I find a lot of times when someone is laid off or they're unemployed, they really don't come out.
Yeah. You're hiding, you're quiet, depressed probably, curled up in a ball somewhere, because I've had that feeling. And so when I would see that people were laid off, I was doing everything I could, even while I was laid off, to send them emails or, encourage them. I had people hitting me up saying, what have you been doing to stay positive? And I'll give encouraging words and stuff like that, and help refer them for jobs and stuff. Right. So, I know it was like 3 people in particular, and they all got jobs, last year.
And I think you could have gotten a job.
I could have.
You were selective.
I really, really was.
So, well, let's put that caveat out there as well. Yeah. She could have easily had a job just doing anything in her industry or with her experience and expertise. But she chose to say, I'm going to wait for the right job.
Right. I wanted to interview them just as much as they were interviewing me. Because I've been in toxic work environments too many times that I could count. And I was like, if I'm going back to a company, I needed to be the right one with the right culture, right environment. And so that was really big for me. So I probably didn't even start looking until like June.
Oh, wow.
Or just
6 months later.
Yeah,
she was living her best life. Let me just tell you that.
I was like still doing stuff like with the business and everything, but still was like
truly inspired, living her best life unemployed.
That's Jesus.
Amen.
He was like taking care of me. I can't even. I put work in, so you got to do something for him to bless. Right. So I definitely feel like you still need the works, but it's not just your work.
Faith without work is dead.
Exactly.
Right?
So.
Okay. So I think you did a great job of highlighting what some of your personal reflections and accomplishments were. I may not have as many. One is just leveling up, right? A lot of times you sit back and you have the skill set, right? And so I took a certification for a product owner, so I decided to do that. But I feel sometimes we will do it, but it's applying it. So I'm not saying this is a good thing, but sometimes we do the role without getting paid for it. But sometimes you need to do the role to get the skill.
Yes.
For you.
Even if you shadow somebody or something.
Even if you shadow. So that's what I did. I did the role, doing the role, so that it can prepare me for my next move.
Yes.
So that was really good because I've been a PM in the past, and I decided that's not the route that I want to go to or work in. Not to say that if I didn't have to, I would definitely do it. But I'm leaning more towards product ownership.
Yeah.
So that was one. I would say maybe the other one.
You stepped out of your box and did the podcast as well as the live event that we did. Yes, because
I guess I could put that on.
Kim is usually not like in a networking setting. We're like yin and yang. We'll be in there working the room, but you don't see her often like on a microphone talking about, like in public.
That's true.
So like when we had the live event, it was kind of like your kind of debut, like publicly, where people were like, oh, okay,
right? Because I think like I do speak up. I speak up at work all the time. If I don't speak up, they're pinging me. What's wrong?
Right.
Why aren't you talking? That's how they knew it was something wrong with me. When I had some challenges in the beginning of the year, I opted not to speak up, and sometimes your voice needs to be heard, right?
Yes.
And also, it's like they need my voice because I bring a diverse perspective. And if I don't speak up, who's going to represent?
Exactly.
For whoever I'm representing for.
Exactly.
So, always speak up if you can, and you don't always have to speak just to speak. Have something to say.
You're in the room for a reason.
Correct.
Whatever that reason is, you can figure that out later. But you need to be your authentic self for it to actually. For you to fulfill whatever that purpose is.
Right, because I think with the live podcast, I was like, are you nervous? I was like, no, but I guess because they've never seen me speak.
And I'll be running my mouth all the time.
Right, she's an Aries, right? Fire. So I'm like, let fire do it. I'm like, I will sit in the background and I'm going to, yep, girl, take it. Yep. Right. So I like to talk, but I don't like to talk as much as others. Not to say that you like to talk.
I do. I used to get in trouble in elementary school for talking. Every report card.
So
very talkative in class.
And look at you now. That's what they said about Oprah.
See, don't be hating on me.
Right?
But you got to put it in the right,
Right. So,
apply it at the right time.
Yeah, so if you have kids who talk a lot, have them record themselves so they can hear themselves speaking.
Yeah, they might be a journalist or TV anchor or something one day.
You never know. What else? I went to a couple conferences.
You did?
I went to Dreamforce. I heard President Barack Obama
I was
speak.
so jealous.
So I'm like, now I don't have to go to any Dreamforces ever again. I've seen Michelle and Barack.
I know.
And just like you had that conference that was overwhelming, that one was pretty overwhelming where I was like, I would need at least a year break. Now, I did say I want to eventually maybe speak at a Dreamforce conference. It won't be next year, though.
That's okay. Put it on the list.
It's on the list for the decade. And
Yeah, I like that because I was thinking back on, we kind of talked about this off the camera, I believe. But when I was young, at 17, when I wrote that letter to myself, I wrote a letter to myself of like what I thought, my life was going to be like. And I was supposed to read it 10 years from then, but I didn't find it until 20 years from then. Wow. And when I read it, I was like, oh my gosh, like 90% of this I accomplished.
I still can't believe this girl still has all this stuff.
I keep those sentimental things because it feels good to look back and see that stuff. And one of the things was, and I was telling Kim this, why people can't like discredit like 1 year. Okay, so it was a bad year. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What did you learn from that? Because you still did something towards your goal.
Exactly.
Even if it didn't look like whatever. But on there I said, I want to, I'm going to work in computers and I'm going to make a lot of money. And back then that's what we would call IT, technology. Those words weren't there then.
Computers.
Computers.
I said the same thing though too.
I'm going to be in computers and make a lot of money.
My mother would say, yeah, Kim's going to go into computers.
Right. Exactly. Because that's the only piece of equipment that we were able to see, the internet and all that. We didn't have smartphones and apps and all that. It was just like this box.
Oh, and when she bought the computer, so she buys the computer. That was a big deal for her.
It was.
To have a computer in the household, a black household, have a computer. She's like, you're going to go into computers. I bought this computer.
So now you need to go into computers.
Yes.
My daddy had bought a Mac. An Apple computer.
Oh, y'all was really fancy out
there. But it was like, I'm sure I don't know how he got it, but it was, and we didn't even know what to do with it. It was just in there, and we would just be in there just typing, because it'd be like a black screen with the green,
DOS.
And we'd just be like, it was just to play on. He was like, I don't know, but this is like what people be talking about now, so like we just need to have that. And so, and my mom, how we got the computer right when the internet came out. Her job went through bankruptcy, and they said you can take whatever you want, and that was what she took. And so she's like, yeah, figure this thing out, like, and that's it. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So any other accomplishments you want to highlight?
Stepping outside the box, trying something new. Like, this is a new industry for me. Well, it's still tech, but it's a different part of the business, basically, in sales.
Now you're selling it.
So now it's like, ooh, you got to test your network now and use all those skills to actually make you money. Like, how well? So it's like a personal challenge of mine to just see how, if this is really.
And one thing else that I would highlight for you is this girl right here is bad with the LinkedIn.
Am I? Like how
yes. You really leveled up this year on that.
I really did. I did.
So you really need to highlight that. Like,
and it's funny because I did that workshop, but I still wasn't as hardcore as where I'm at right. How I do it now. That's where most of my network is. Like, that's my popping social media. Yeah.
In which it should be.
Because it is strategy to how to promote yourself and stuff like that.
So you definitely need to document that as an accomplishment.
I agree.
All right, so I guess the next question is, as we prepare for this new year, your new role, the new decade, what are you doing in preparation for this next year? Well, I think you've already kind of started doing the preparation. You built the foundation, right? Yeah. How are you going to continue to prepare for this next year? Because now you have new goals. Yes,
I'm basically setting a blueprint for how I want this year to go. I think the cool part about being in sales is that that's big in sales, like writing your goals down and knowing how you're going to get to it, and like, hey, I need to do this much this month or do this, that. I need to document that and know exactly how I'm going to do that. You can't just be like, yeah, I'm going to do that. It's like, how are you going to do it? So This is actually forcing me to start creating some discipline, some habits that I'm going to need in order to reach those goals. So I'm hoping to take a lot of those skills from my colleagues and learn like how they do things and maybe translate that over even into my personal life. So.
And something, I don't know if you may have already heard of it, like OKRs, what they call objectives and key results, kind of goes into what you're saying. You have a goal, then you list under the goal, how do I meet that goal? What are those 3 things that will get me to meet that goal?
Actionable steps.
Yep. that you can measure.
What about you?
So for me, I feel like I'm in a season of rebranding and transition and looking to go into a different direction. So how I'm preparing myself is I've already started taking the classes, certifications. I'm going to continue to do that and being even more intentional and specific in those networking events that I go to. So like I'm interested in product. Looking directly for that, and then looking for someone who can mentor me in 2020.
I love it.
Right? So I had a mentor that was planned for me for 2020, but some things shifted where I work, and they're no longer with the company.
Oh, man.
So that was an eye-opener for me. It was like, okay, don't even worry about someone at the company. I mean, I have people there that are mentoring me, but get someone external.
Yeah.
That no matter where they are, you still have that relationship with them.
I like that.
Right?
And that's something when I was at this the conference, when I was able to meet, it was a unique opportunity, like on my first day, to be in the space with all the salespeople in North America for our company. So I started networking there. I got like 40 people on my LinkedIn from the first day or the first couple days that I've added. I was like, everyone that I met, I'm adding them on LinkedIn. Like each person that I met, I have their name. I put them on there. So it was like 40 something people, including my COO, our president, like all that, because I'm like, I want to keep that network building because I want to learn from them. If you're a top seller, I want to get on. Yeah, what are you doing? Yeah, so that's another thing that I'm intending
to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also, so what I did is I pulled a couple of job applications from those roles that I'm seeking. Right, what skills do I need in order to qualify? And even if I don't qualify, I'm going to still apply for it, but where's the gap? So I can close the gap.
Yes.
So I updated my resume based on like current roles that I'm in, but I'm also looking at roles for future state.
Yes.
And then figuring out, well, I actually have that, but how can I translate that so that it looks and appears that I have that skill?
Yes.
And what else am I doing?
And you could be doing things that are like what I did, where they may not be a paid role, but volunteering, doing something in that space to where you could build up a skill. Like if you're working with a nonprofit and they need a committee person for this, volunteer doing that and then add that to your resume. Like, hey, I create professional events for senior level executives because I did that for free for this nonprofit for so long. It helped me to build that skill set to do it and get paid for it. Mm-hmm. So,
and also read a quote, just saw it today. It says, women who go to women's conferences are twice as likely to get a promotion within a year and 3 times as likely to get a 10% salary bump.
Wow.
So, I feel like this past year, I at least attended 2 conferences that weren't local. Mm-hmm. That doesn't include like the Inotech and whatnot. Mm-hmm. Kind of looking at my calendar and say, okay, what conferences will I attend?
Yeah. And be intentional about
this. Be very intentional because those conferences are not cheap. And
but it's an
for
investment.
A sponsor.
It's an investment.
It's an investment in you.
If you can afford to do it, you know, I heard a guy who was saying you should create a budget for this stuff. Like, say, I mean, it sounds expensive, but even if you used to say like $1,000 or
which
something,
is not
like
a
lot. Which really like $5,000 is, because some of these are like $2,500. I mean,
which
if you're
does not even include hotel and lodging and food.
And so that would be more reasonable, you know, something that's more realistic if you're going to go out of town for it. But, and be intentional about it. So that's investing in yourself, in your network, meeting people who are not necessarily in your local, you know, area and stuff like that. But it's really important because how I found out about this role is from volunteering with another lady who was volunteering in a Women in Tech group. And she heard me talking to somebody about looking and was like, you want to get in sales? And then told me about the company and sent me the referral. So
and look at that.
I mean, that's just
all from volunteering and networking.
Yep. So it's when they say it's who you know, that's really what they're talking about. Because some of these places, they said it takes 4 weeks before somebody responds back to you applying. Right. Somebody told me that for the role that I'm in. And it was 4 weeks, the whole process. get into the job. So.
And you can be creative too. So for instance, like future state, long term, hopefully I'll be transitioning out. But I think about my daughter. That is something we could do, where we could partner and go to the same conference, right? But if you partner with someone, you're sharing the expenses. Because I partnered with someone with Black Enterprise, we split the room. So it was easier. And actually, I went because I was volunteering. So I got to attend for free.
And that thing ain't cheap.
Oh, it wasn't cheap at all.
I was like, all right, let me know. Report back all the things. Because that was definitely expensive.
Exactly. So I would definitely look at that to see, hey, is there someone else I know that I will be willing to share a room with? Because I don't share a room with everybody. And it could be also an opportunity to go visit a new place.
That's true.
So I look at it as a twofold.
We said we want to do Afrotech this year.
Yes.
So we need to put that on our, just to get that, pay for that early.
Because we can share a room.
Exactly.
I know what she smells like.
I passed Ken's smell test.
Oh, yeah. I've had this conversation. If you think it's going to be hard for me to be friends with you. Because I have a weak stomach.
Oh, my God.
Right? It's you might have something going on. Just let a girl know.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, but most of my friends smell really good. They really take... Actually, all. Let me stop saying that. All. Let me just rephrase that. All. They wash with good soap. All right, so back to it. So, yeah, so the conferences. Also, I started looking at, okay, what trainings do I need this year?
Yes, that's important.
Right? Because we all have, well, not all. Most companies have a training budget for you to take any extracurricular or professional development classes outside of maybe what they offer.
Right.
So I always try and look at one at a minimum. So I started doing that the first week of the year. I was at work looking through. I said, hey,
all the trainings. And while you're working at a company, you better take everything that they offer you.
Every bit
because
of
that stuff is expensive when you're outside of the company. I was like, dang, I should have got that while I was over here. So many certifications that I wish I would have gotten, that I could have gotten for free from the company. Yep. So take advantage of any resources that your company offers you.
Okay.
What else?
I had a bonus. What are you reading? I'm reading Brene Brown's book about the courage to lead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm reading Amanda Seales.
Dare to Lead.
I'm
still reading that one too.
Because honestly, it's a personal development book.
It is. And I'm the type of person, I love to read, but I don't like rushing to read.
Yeah.
Because I want to
remember it,
let it soak in, and then go back and reflect on how can I apply this to my life. Because I think a lot of times people just read to read, but do you read to say, okay, well, how can I use this information?
Right. Especially if you're saying it's for personal development. If it's just a novel, just read to read. But if you're reading something that's going to help you, don't just try to hurry it. What are you hurrying for? You're trying to learn the stuff.
Right.
So learn the stuff and then...
Yep. It's called Dare to Lead. So
I have that book, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I read it yet.
Well, you can join me.
After I finish this one.
Yeah, I know. So I'm finishing up Amanda Seales too. Her book is really, really good. She comes in from personal and professional perspective.
I was so
She touches
impressed.
everything.
I was impressed.
She's really smart.
When I first started reading, I was like, this chick is smart. And I remember, because I follow her on Instagram, how, and I knew that because I'm like, just how she speaks and things she does that's smart, funny, and black.
And her vocabulary is off the chain.
I was just like, the way she writes, because I was watching when she was writing the book, I've been writing, I'm almost done on Instagram. So I'm like, she really wrote this book. And you can hear her voice in it. It was
it's her.
Very good. It's very well written. So anyways, anything else? Any call to action?
We do have a call to action similar to our previous episode that you may have listened to. I hope you have. Is to document and outline what your professional development goals are for 2020. I think a lot of times we don't take the time to write that out. You have professional goals, personal, spiritual goals too. I don't want to leave that out either. But you need to go back and say, okay, what each quarter, and I will break it out by quarters because that's when you can hit them. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to do this class by this date.
Right.
So that I can put this on my resume. And as I tell my boss, anytime he asks me to do something, I said, well, that's a LinkedIn skill. Would you endorse me for that?
Mm-hmm.
And we call them hashtag LinkedIn skills.
And make people start sending you those recommendations on there. Like I used that in that presentation that I did.
Mm-hmm.
I had one slide that were testimonials of people that I work with and their thoughts of me. You know, so it's like VP, CEO of, you know, this company, and, you know, this person over here, this different levels at different companies. Like working with Aries, she is a this and that. So it's not me just tooting my own horn. Here's someone who you can go look them up. This is a real person. It's like giving a reference, basically.
Right. Like a Yelp review.
Yeah, but it was like to put the little quotes. They had their picture at the bottom, like who this person is. Like, this is a real person that vouched for me. And then also making sure that if you are looking for a job and you need professional references, that you reach out to them before putting them down and make sure they know what the role is so that they can speak to you when someone reaches out to them. Like, hey, I'm applying for this job. And they'll, you know, send them the link so they know what, you know, to say.
This is true. And kind of touching on that, like, I've had people in the work that I do reach out to me, and they're reaching out to the wrong person. And in spite of, I decided to assist. Well, and then I ended up solving the issue. And they're like, thank you so much. I'm like, could you submit a stellar review on my behalf? So it's like an internal system.
Yeah.
At work where you can just say, hey, this person went above and beyond. And it actually is in a PDF. So if someone says, hey, you did a great job, I really appreciate it, ask them for a reference at that point.
Yes.
And I keep a kudos folder so that you'll have that to go back, and you'll have the date, the year, and you'll see, oh, wow, she does have a track record of high performance.
Exactly.
Excellence, because I eat in excellence and I work in excellence.
But that's really good, though, because that's so real. And I've had to pull that folder out a couple times where I'll be like...
Those receipts.
So, that's how I ended up getting a bonus back one time, because I had a manager who was trying to play me. And I was out on maternity leave, and they did not want to give me my bonus while I was out. Talking about your needs improvement. And I'm like, what? When I just talked to you a month ago, and you just was like... Great job. No areas that you need to improve on.
So you just contradicted yourself.
So what are you talking about? So are you trying to discriminate against me?
Because I'm you have the wrong Aries.
Yeah, I was like, no.
I tell them that all the time.
And I sent my receipts to HR and got my money.
See?
I'm just saying, you got to have them receipts now. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you might have somebody that's not necessarily in your corner. You need to pull that out.
So, yep, those are all the things that I'm doing. And it'll be continuous improvement. Right? Yep. So, and I'll check in with myself at the end of each quarter. I actually put a calendar invite on my calendar to remind me to document my accomplishments for the month. Mm-hmm. And then I used to have one at the end of the week on Fridays, 5 minutes reminder. Don't forget to write down what you did this week. 3 things.
Yeah, so that's a good, I would say, call to action for folks to make sure you are starting, if you're haven't been doing it, start documenting things at work. That could be conversations that are taken. I used to do, like, talk to this person today. Oh, I just remembered this lady's name that I couldn't remember, and it just came to me now. Because I used to document all the time. Talk to this person today. She said this, and da-da-da-da-da. Like, even just little things so that you can start keeping a note of those.
All right.
All right, y'all. Well, that's it. So make sure you rate and review the episode. Subscribe. Send us a message and a note. Again, if you are interested in attending Power Moves Conference out here in the Dallas area, send us an email at bowblackgirls@gmail.com to let us know why you would like to attend. And we will let you all know who the winner is next week.
And we will be judging.
I'll pop in and let y'all know next week.
Yeah. Because that's how I got to the Black Enterprise Conference.
Actually, on this episode, no, probably next episode. When are we going to do it? I don't know.
Well, and so we might need to go add something to the previous episode.
Yeah, I might add it to the previous episode, too. Because you'll know by then.
Yeah.
Alrighty, then.
Make it dynamic.
Have a bold week.
You too. Bye.
Peace.